Today we're going to be taking a closer look at an ideal spring fragrance. When I think of spring, I think of flowers. Here we have a fragrance with freesia and cyclamen and cherry blossom and violet and rose, osmanthus. There's so many wonderful floral ingredients, and there's also a freshness that is hard to resist. This fragrance by the London-based house Ormonde Jayne is called Sakura. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this fragrance, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I give you my thoughts on Sakura by Ormonde Jayne, a 2022 release, I'll tell you what I think about the smell, the notes, the performance, the longevity, comparisons, all that good stuff. But before I begin, I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell icon so you could be notified whenever I do upload future videos to the channel. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, or if you took something of value from today's episode. It would really mean a lot to me. So here we have a fragrance that came out last year in 2022. If you are a fan of fresh floral fragrances, ones that don't smell explicitly feminine or anything like that, because traditionally and characteristically, you think of a fragrance that contains floral ingredients, whether it be jasmine or tuberose, osmanthus, so on and so forth, you're going to think of a fragrance that is gravitating towards a feminine crowd. That's not the case here. I think there's a lot of unisex elements. You have this orange note, there's bergamot, there's lime, coriander. You also have cedarwood, sandalwood, vanilla, tonka bean, amber. You have some creamy, smooth, woodsy ingredients in the base, but really where the beauty of this fragrance lies is in the heart, the cherry blossom, and all of these other enigmatic floral ingredients that come together to form this highly redolent bouquet. It's a beautiful fragrance. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on the smell. Let's take a quick look at the presentation. Now, in the opening of this fragrance, you will be transfixed by the freshness. I love the freshness here. You have the bergamot, the lime, the coriander, the orange. There's a bit of this fresh, spicy kick in the opening, which I truly, truly love. And of course, when I'm thinking about fragrances that are geared for the hotter weather, all things considered, I am looking for a bit of freshness. I'm not looking for that crazy density, that heavy weightiness. And that happens with a lot of ambers and smokes and woods and resins and all that stuff. That's not what you're going to get here. In my experience, most of the Ormonde Jayne fragrances that I've tried, whether it be Gatsby 22 or even Montabaco Verano, they all have a sort of brightness about them that I really, really enjoy. And this one is no different. In Sakura, it opens up with this gorgeous cherry blossom ingredient that is almost edible. There's this creaminess that's almost delectable and makes you want to bite into it. It's this beautiful sort of an opening. And there's just enough sweetness. It's not a gourmand or anything like that. You can sense the amber, the vanilla, the tonka bean, some of these sweeter ingredients kind of residing in the base, starting to come through a little bit, but they know how to tease really well. And they never break through the surface completely to overstate their presence, right? And make themselves like very loudly known or anything like that. They're resting very gently in the dry down. So they're more on the docile side of things. And I really do enjoy that, right? It's not an overwhelming composition in any way. The osmanthus is really thick and juicy. The rose is very sensual and contributes to the name and the color of the bottle and the whole aesthetic of it. And you also have a touch of violet in there. It just creates this really well-rounded floral bouquet. And the water lily that is in here too is very tranquil. So I really love the floral elements that are in here, and it smells so natural. The cherry blossom really sits at the heart of it, and I think it creates this bridge between the heart and the base. Once you get to the base, you do have the cedarwood, the sandalwood, some of these smooth woods. It's not dark, it's not earthy, it's not peppery or anything like that. There are no rough edges. It's a very smooth fragrance from start to finish, and I love that it does come across with this polished demeanor, perfectly unisex, great expression of floral ingredients, and I like that it doesn't do any one expected floral ingredient too heavily. I've smelled a lot of jasmine-centered fragrances, I've smelled a lot of rose-dominant fragrances, but the fact that it kind of puts on the pedestal some floral ingredients that we don't get in a conventional or a more common sense. Things like cherry blossom and water lily. I think these are beautiful, tranquil, sort of meditative and exotic floral ingredients. I think Sakura by Ormonde Jayne is truly wonderful and one of the best fragrances that you can get for the springtime, especially if you are a fan of unisex floral fragrances with just a touch of sweetness in them and that refreshing quality in the opening on account of the lime, the bergamot, the coriander. Very well done. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. Now, first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, totally unique fragrance. I will say it does have a bit of that Ormonde Jayne DNA. So when you smell it, you're like, oh yeah, this is an Ormonde Jayne fragrance. Even when you give it a chance to dry down, there's this smoothness. And, you know, even with Mon Tabaco Verano, I know it has the cashmeron and the grapefruit, but I kind of got like this tobacco cashmeron vibe. This sort of smooth, elegant, musky finish, I got that in here as well. So I do think that there is this sort of consistency and uniformity among Ormonde Jayne fragrances. There's that same benchmark of quality that the brand makes sure to put out with every subsequent release. Longevity on this one was about 7 hours on my skin. Projection was great for the first hour of application. It radiated within an arm's length. It became an elbow's length scent right around hour 5, a skin scent right around hour 7 or 8. In terms of the versatility, perfectly unisex, great for the hotter weather, great for casual or formal scenarios, and I think this one will appeal to anybody of any age. But again, these are just recommendations. Wear what you like, wear what makes you happy. And in terms of the presentation, I do love the name. I like the color of the bottle. The whole presentation of it I think is really elegant. My final verdict on this fragrance is I think it's a wonderful fragrance. If you are a fan of floral ingredients, if the description and the way that I went about talking about the scent appeals to your sentiments and your liking, see at the very least if you can get a sample of it. I'm going to leave links down below. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for taking the moment to watch this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you took something of value from today's review, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell icon and make sure to give this video a thumbs up. It would really mean a lot to me. Thank you again for watching. Love you all. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.